Hello everyone, Chrisa Assis here, and today we're going to be doing a 20-minute tango practice. As you will hear me say during the video, if you feel that you want to spend more time on something, you should go ahead. If you're feeling that you need to spend less time on something, again, you should go ahead. So adjust the time spent based on your goals and your needs. But in order to be able to do that, either you need to know in advance what you're looking for. So here we're working on posture, balance, walks, and ochos. Ochos are coming in as an introduction, so we're not focusing too much on them, only at the end. So any of these things, and if you know that you have specific trouble, maybe, for example, walking forward, for example, or more walking back, or you might be having trouble when you are trying to do balance exercises on your right foot more than what you do when you are on your left foot. So based on these things, based on the trouble you might be having, you need to use this time in the best of ways. So that's what I'm suggesting to you. Now, if we have, for example, trouble walking forward, and not really much trouble when we're walking back. Maybe you're a follower watching this video and you're walking back all the time, so you don't really need, you feel that you are doing okay walking in back walks. Okay, so instead of completely eliminating them from your practice, practice them first. And not only it will motivate you, it will make you feel better, it will how do you say, it will also give you, if you pay attention, of course, if you notice, it will also give you some detail. Look for that detail that makes those back steps better than the forward steps. Pay attention. That is it's a unique opportunity because your back steps are already good. So you're not having that much trouble with back steps. So it means that you can focus on other things like making, what is it, like finding that special thing that has made them feel comfortable, effortless, um, just so smooth and flowy. So focus on finding that special thing that makes one side feel better than the other, one exercise feel better than the other, forward ochos better than back ochos, whatever it is. Then practice that first, get that detail, and then go back to whatever it is that is causing extra trouble and try to see how can I use that detail to make it better. So that is my special tip for you. And also you will notice that the whole structure of this practice is inspiring our body to work as a nice big whole system. So I'm not going to say structure because it gives a very solid idea, but I'm going to say a nice big whole fluid system. So try to find through movement how you can really connect to that system as a whole. So don't just think about your feet. What are my feet doing? Try to really feel what the feet are doing through the whole body. Make it a whole body experience. So that is the main goal for this video, and that's why we're starting in such a gentle, stretchy way. But I found that to be an opportunity for us to discover that whole body system, and this way make our dance a lot more juicy and give ourselves the opportunity to be in our body and feel good moving with it. Okay, so as I said, notice what you have trouble with. Notice what you're really good at. Start with what you're really good at. Find the juicy details that make you really good at that. take those details, transfer them over to what's giving you trouble. And if you need any help, send me an email at chrisa.assis@bautanz.com. Have fun! We're going to be starting with a dynamic toe stretch that gives us the opportunity to understand also how the whole spine is moving together like a wave. I don't want to say like a piece because we have, it creates the image of something very stiff and structural. But if you think about a wave, that's the closest image that we have from nature to how our spine is working and how it is moving. It is like a nice gentle wave, and we're passing through. So you're gonna feel how your hips are curving in, and that makes your whole spine curve. Let your neck and head follow that curve, and then you reach forward and you get to a full extension. The reason why we're doing it is going to feel great for the legs and the lower back, but at the same time it can teach us how we pass the weight through from the back to the front and vice versa, something that we need a lot for our walks. So this is how I am starting my 20-minute practice today, because it's one of these exercises that can get you into a mindset of practice. It can get your body moving. It can give you a nice gentle stretch, a nice gentle warm-up, and at the same time get you mentally prepared for the work that is going to be happening as we go. At the same time, notice if one side feels somehow different than the other one. Maybe one thigh is more flexible or less flexible, more tight or less tight. Maybe one hip is not cooperating. I don't know. Anything that you might notice as different. And then just relax in a forward fold. You can repeat things more than me. Of course, it's totally up to you. Take a moment to fully relax here, and then roll your way up, reach up, and then nice and gently reach back in a gentle extension. Come back in the center and all the way back down. So we're taking that wave-like motion that we were doing before, and we bring it into a forward fold. So we are exploring the different ways that we can fold our way and make our way down, and how we can make our way up or unfold. So we are folding here to make our way down, and maybe to make our way up we can look up and extend instead of a full unfold, or exactly the reverse. Add as many repetitions as you need if you want to play with it a little bit more, or stick to one if one feels better than the other ones. But I think it's always good if you at least try once. And now we go into our balance, and along with the stretch, of course. So take a notice here. It is going to be a little bit more tricky with balance, but it is going to make your hips feel really, really nice. So notice what I'm doing with my arms. I am doing a very, very tiny circle. See how I'm gently moving my foot. So what I'm doing is, and I'm going to be changing positions so you'll be able to see it, but I'm doing a very small circle forward, up, back, and down. It has to be very tiny, very subtle, and I want you to make it really subtle as well. It creates space inside the hip. So what we're doing is that we're moving the leg inside our hip, and that creates some space. I think on this side you might be able to see it a little bit better. So you find your spot first, you make your way down, you secure your balance, And then you start creating that small circle. Let's see it. Forward. So that wavering movement that you see, it is not me falling. It is actually moving my leg, and you're gonna see how I'm going forward and back a little bit. It is because I am trying to create a little bit of space. Let's see. I'm gonna change sides so you can see me a little bit better, and I think it is going to be rather obvious in the front view. There we go. So first you bring that leg up, open it up, take a seat, and now pay attention to my hands, what they're doing. Up, back, and down. And again, up, back, and down. Up, back, and down. That's it. And that's it. Very, very, very small, subtle movements. It will challenge your balance a little bit. I am not sure if you can do it sitting, but I can assure you that it will make your hips feel really, really nice. Always changing over on the other side, and you can do it like the same way I did it in terms of repetition. Do 4 on one side, then change 4 on the other side, and then change again and repeat. So this way you will not be challenged hopefully too much by the balance, so you can enjoy the stretch at the same time. There. And when you're ready, of course, you can add or take away reps if you feel it's too much. Let's go to the balance drill that we were doing last week. And as said, you will be able to find all the videos, the one that we started with and this one at the bottom of this video. I will be doing something a little bit different to challenge myself and to challenge you and to change things up a little bit. I'm starting with that same exercise like we did before, reaching the hands overhead and back to a T. And again, you can repeat as many times as you feel that you need to. And this time, I am not going to change. I'm going straight to forward and back. Try to stay on that same foot. Try to find a continuous motion from the back to the front, passing. Remember that passing forward and back that we did in the dynamic toe stretch, and allow your hips and your spine to help out. And this you will find very, very important here. This I find is the most challenging one because we're changing direction, and we have to keep our balance at the same time. And notice here that the same way that your arms are working inside your inside the shoulder, the same thing you have of the legs inside your hip. And of course, after a little break, you go over to the other side. The most common mistake that we make when we have poses like this one is that we tense up while trying to keep everything, to hold our balance. Try not to think of holding. Try to think of a continuous movement from from the top of the body to the bottom, and from the bottom to the top. So one example would be movement-wise, yielding towards the floor to enable the other side, through the standing leg, to enable the other side to move freely. So we're connecting and balancing through movement. Or, like we said before, there is a tiny circle that happens in the arms within the shoulders. And that same circle happens in the legs, by the legs, there we go, by the legs, inside the hips. So this is another balancing tool, but you need to find that balancing tool through movement. If you lock your hips, it's not going to work. Again, a little breather in between, and you can do it the same way you did it before, just folding and unfolding, or you can play with it and find different ways, like I'm doing here, looking up first, so coming up through an extension. It's totally up to you how you're feeling about it. And here we go. Time for some walking. We did this last time, playing with that balance, passing our free leg forward and back before taking that step. Try to find that same comfort that hopefully you managed to get through your balance exercise. And most importantly, try to find what created that comfort and bring that element here. Is it breathing? Is it that yielding that we were talking about? Is it that movement of the leg inside the hip that we were talking about? Is it the connection that you discovered between the upper and the lower body? Whatever that element is that made it effortless for you, focus on that and bring it into your walks. And this way you're mentally connecting the dots. Anytime that you will be doing a different balance exercise, maybe outside of the scope of tango, maybe in the gym, maybe in your yoga class, at the same time your mind will be looking for these very same details. So that is always very important, because you have a double win this way. And moving on, the side steps. But they are a little bit more playful than your usual side steps. So these ones are our introduction to ochos. We're not going to be focusing on ochos in this one, but in the videos to come, I do though want you to try to discover how the elements that we just talked about apply. Some of you might think this is straightforward. Obviously, I'm on one foot, therefore I would have to yield before I start moving. Yes, excellent. But I want you to also think about how all these things that we talked about, upper and lower body connection, how do they apply here, and how they can make your ochos smoother, more fun, deeper, bigger, faster, whatever your goal is. So all these things, if you want to make them more dynamic, for example, and if you want exactly the opposite, how to make it more smooth and more comfortable, so are using the same set of rules, only in possibly different ways. But it always comes really down to the basic, and it always comes to how we understand our body as a nice big whole system that, if it works together effectively, it will give us a nice smooth movement. So play with it. I know I overdid it sometimes there with a forward and back twists. If you need more, if you're feeling that, maybe on your right foot you're not that balanced and you need to understand why that is, you can stay over that foot for a little bit and see what happens. Or you can do exactly the opposite. Go over the other foot that feels great and notice what is it that makes it feel great. Yeah. So adjust the drill based on not really on what I'm doing, but based on how much time you have, of course, and what your goals and your trouble are. And here this time, we're taking basically the projections out and we're going just for a side step, a pivot, an ocho, and a side step. Try to alternate between your pivots, between a back pivot and a front pivot. If you want to focus more on back ochos, of course, you focus more on the back pivots. I think though it's always better if you have a nice balance, even if not balancing in terms of muscles or energy, but also in terms of the details that get stored in our minds. So if you're feeling that your forward ochos are really good, and you don't need that extra practice, it's not, yes, you might want to focus more on back ochos, but go through the forward ones a couple times just to see what makes them so good and get that one or two or three things that makes them so much better than the back ochos and try to apply it to your back ochos. So this way you haven't wasted time, you've actually won over some time. And now a little combo, a little rebound, coming back, a back ocho or a forward one, totally up to you. I'm going to be doing both anyhow. But I want us to find a way to connect basically the two exercises. So a side step, a back step, and the newly added pivots. Try to find that smooth transfer between the front foot and the back foot. Use the details from this very practice from the things you practiced on in the beginning of following the beginning of this video. Use them here, how your hips are moving, how they affect the rest of your spine, how your whole body is participating in the transfer of weight, how you can connect the upper with the lower body, especially in a twist, how you extend that leg and you keep your balance without tensing up, how you can help all that through breathing. So maybe it is a simple exercise, but if you put this practice combo together, then you have something a lot more powerful, especially if you start paying attention to detail. And of course, you can add music to this. You can add speed. You can go, faster than me, slower than me. Play with levels. I'm keeping it very basic, very simple, because I really want to focus here on all these other things that we talked about.